This man, regardless of his mental condition or uh, anything else about him, this man is so inspiring as an artist. He had so much to say, and I'm excited to be talking about him today. Hello there, BookTube friends. I am happy to report I'm still here. I know it's been 2 weeks since I posted a video, but here I am again. I would like to share with you a bit of my journal today, and then there will be an art room tour. Yes, another one. Wednesday, August 14th, 2024, 11:15 a.m. Seeking a more artistic approach to life, journaling, creativity of all kinds. I want to be my real me, to express my true self, to be true to self, and God, of course, to dance in the elements of creative living, to feed birds, to bless cats, and do things in a well-ordered and intentional way. To see my creativity blossom in multiple ways as if I were a flower garden of activities and not a simple monotone. I want the strength and energy to do the things I must or should do. I desire God's guidance always. Lord, make me the person you want me to be. You are the potter and I am the clay. I want my days to be an ongoing expression of creative life, guided by the Lord Most High. I've shown you my art room before and thought I'd give you another look at it because I just redid everything. I took everything off the art table yesterday, and I wanted to do that because the sawhorses on the bottom, it's a table resting on sawhorses, and the sawhorses were too far apart, so the table was starting to bow in the middle, bend in the middle a little bit, so I didn't want that to happen. And I fixed that, and while I had everything off, I put up a curtain. I'd had that curtain rod here for a while. I just was taking my time on getting it up. Now it's up. Glad to have that over with. Putting up curtain rods is not a whole lot of fun for me. And so this is kind of like how I'd like my art room to be organized. I have over here things to paint on. Watercolor paper, mixed media paper, canvas boards. I have over here this pink thing that is a really nice watercolor sketchbook that I haven't even opened and used yet. And then I have a lot of brushes and things and cans and mugs. Some of my favorite mugs are over there. Yes, I'm a mug collector. I love to collect drinkware, cups. I'll show you this one. This one I got on the way home from Texas is from the Petrified Forest National Park. Really like this one. Has a picture of John Muir on the back. And this is one that my daughter got me for, I think, birthday or Christmas a long, long time ago. Really like that one, so I keep it around. And over there's a Christmas mug. All good memories. When I went to the thrift store and found that Christmas mug, I always remember that it was my pastor's wife that was working at the counter as a volunteer. And she checked me out that day, so I always think about her when I see that. And so what I'm going to be using right here is my acrylic inks. This is acrylic inks. This is the kind I use. It's called FW by Deirdre Rowney. Can you see that? Is it focusing in? I can't tell. So I need a better way to store my acrylic inks. I'm working on that. And this is what I'm working on right now. It's a picture of, it's a picture of one of my pastors. Don't know if it'll turn out looking like him, but I'll give it a try. This is my pastor up in Idaho who baptized me back in 2014. So very special man, in my opinion. And then I have my books over here. I put my Van Gogh books in here because, you know, art. So I have some empty sketchbooks right here. And this one is my junk journal. I made that book. Yeah. And more art books. And then over here, that thing that helps you to dry your art. It's like a hair dryer. And I have it on a concrete siding panel. This concrete siding is exactly what they put on the outside of my house. So I thought that would be safe for something that gets hot, which actually it doesn't get all that hot, but you wouldn't want it around anything flammable. And then this is something I just copied off the internet. It's all the colors of the acrylic ink that I might want. I don't have that many, of course, but thought I'd get some samples in case I want to ever buy more. And really love using that. So over here is some pictures that I've already painted. This is my father when he was a young man. That one I love. I love the way it turned out. And this one was supposed to be like an illustration of a story that I wrote it about, almost 20 years ago. And I wasn't too impressed by the way this one turned out. It's called Ciara and the Fairies. That's the name of the story, and I'll probably never have it published. And this one, from my imagination. So I could go on and on with that. Let's not. So there you have it. My art room, my lamps. This is the third time I've bought these lamps because I had a set of lamps like that at my art room up in Idaho, and I don't know what happened to them. Maybe I gave them away when I moved. I don't really know what I did with them. And then when I set up my studio in my mobile home, when I first moved back here, I had a set of lamps. They burned in the fire. And so I'm on my third set of lamps here. And I'm hoping that these will last a long time. I have to have light coming from both sides so that there isn't a shadow where my hand is on whatever I'm painting. Okay, that's the story. I do have like this camp chair over here, which I'm going to replace with some kind of an artist stool. I'm not ready to do that. Now you may be wondering what inspired all this artistic thought. Well, I just finished a buddy read of this wonderful book with two other booktubers here, Faith in Books. Faith in Books is one of them, and the other one is Deirdre of Eden Restored. We read this together. Also, Mark of Book Time with Elvis started with us, but then he raced ahead to the end of the book and left and didn't discuss with us. But I know he has other things happening in his life right now because he's just had a house built and he's going to be moving into it. And he's pretty much focused on that this summer. So anyhow, this book, Vincent van Gogh's letters to his brother Theo and to some other artists and some other relatives. But most of the book was his letters to his brother Theo. Very touching. told the story from when he was a very young man, left home, and went to work in a business that sold art. He did that for a few years in various locations like London, Paris, and so eventually he left that position and he tried to do some preaching. His father was a preacher, and so he took up preaching for a while, but that didn't work out for him either. And he tried some other jobs like book selling. Nothing quite gelled for him, and he eventually decided he was going to be an artist. Took him a long time to come to the decision of artistry as a profession. And he did a lot of drawing at first because he couldn't afford paint, so he was doing just like pencil drawings for a long time. And he took up watercolors. And eventually it got to the point where his brother Theo decided to fund his art career and was buying oil paints for him and canvases. And that's how we got these wonderful paintings that Van Gogh did. While I was reading this, I was also looking at this other book that has all the paintings of Van Gogh. Pretty impressive, right? There was over 800 paintings, and they were all reproduced in this book. So it was interesting while reading the letters of Van Gogh, just to page through the paintings that he was doing at that stage of his life. We had a lot of interesting discussions about the ear incident. I think everyone knows he cut off his ear, or reportedly cut off his ear. There are some alternative explanations to how that ear came off, but I think it's most likely he cut off his ear because he was losing his mind. Everybody knows that he was in an insane asylum for a while, and it didn't end good. Let's just say it didn't end good. But what I really got out of this book that I loved was that he was just so devoted to art. He had favorite artists. He knew artists when he was living in Paris, especially. He tried to live with an artist friend, and he was so dedicated to it. He was painting every day. This was not a part-time thing for him. It was a full-time, every day, got to paint something, walking around town looking for scenes, looking for people to model for him. And it was just so inspiring to hear some of his philosophical thoughts about art, things that should be painted, things that shouldn't be painted, colors, descriptions of his art that he was working on that he wanted to tell his brother about. This book, for me as an artist, was so inspiring. It made me want to dedicate more of my time to art. And I have brought a lot of my art materials out here into the great room and put them on the island over there. I know the island is supposed to be for the kitchen, but right now it's covered with art supplies. Anyhow, a lot of the art that I'm doing right now is in sketchbooks, but I do plan to get an easel. I have an artist friend that I talk to online, someone who is very dear to me. We've been exchanging emails just practically every day. She lives up in Canada, and her name is Gladys. I'll tell you that much. Gladys is very precious to me, as a matter of fact, and she's been inspiring me and giving me feedback on my art, and I have also been looking at the art that she does at the same time. And we're both partly folk art type people, so we gel pretty well with each other's art endeavors, I guess you could say, although we don't do the same things. Anyhow, that's been very helpful, and she got an easel. So, of course, that put in me a desire to have an easel. Now, I used to have an easel when I lived in Idaho. Actually, I bought it when I was here. I took it with me when I moved to Idaho, had it all that time. And on my exit from Idaho, I put it in storage. And then when I went to get my storage and to bring it here, I did that and I put it in the mobile home, and 2 weeks later, the mobile home burned. So I no longer have an easel except for a desktop easel. I do have a desktop little easel thing. But I want to get a real easel, a really nice studio easel this time. So I'm going to get one like Gladys got. And that's coming soon, but I haven't ordered it yet. So that's my story today. I'm excited about having read the letters of Van Gogh, and especially grateful that I was able to read it with Faith and Deirdre. And I do plan to reread this. Now, Deirdre is also an artist. If you haven't seen her channel, please check it out. It is Eden Restored, and she does some art actually on camera there. It's pretty impressive. She lives in Ireland, of all places. I'm part Irish. I like everything Irish, even though I've never been there. And she plans to reread it as well because there's just so much in there that is inspiring and helpful for artists. I definitely recommend this, whether or not you consider yourself an artist. I think everyone is creative. And that's the story for today. I guess that's all I'm going to say. Thank you for listening to my video.